my announcement in the social group. This was supposed to be a pre-recorded video that Michelle was going to do, but unfortunately she's been sick all week. So you're stuck with me. Sorry. We'll have fun. This will be fast, I promise. And it is fast. That's the beauty of this. It is a really simple little tutorial, but it's great skill building. We're going to show you how to do a French seam, which is a beautiful enclosed seam. So if you don't have a serger and you want a nice finish on the inside of whatever it is that you're doing that's not lined, a French seam is the way to go. And I used to detest doing them, but they're honestly not that bad. We're going to make a little gift bag. I don't have drawstring for this one, but you can imagine it all cinched up with some little goodies in there. And we've got some fun Christmas space fabric. So I'm going to dive right in, and I've attempted something new with my setup tonight. So we'll see if that helps with visualizing what I'm doing on the sewing machine. I'm going to start by talking just quickly about the tools that I'm using. And let me just add my chat function on live chat. If you are joining me, say hello. I love to not just talk to myself. You will need an iron. I have my mini iron here because I'm sitting and working. You will need, I've got two different marking tools. I love this little ruler. I bought it on a whim because it was cute, and I found that it's super useful, especially when marking small seam allowances on bags. I've also got my seam gauge because I find that helpful with doing hems. You'll need some kind of marking tool. I've just got my friction clicker, the point turner, which is super helpful for poking the points out of those bags, and then a pair of snips. I'm going to move these off to the side. I've pre-cut my piece of fabric. Really, you can use any size fabric to make a gift bag. Once I'm done this, I'll pop some suggested sizes into the description. But you only need to cut one piece of fabric. You basically want it to be the width of whatever you want. You need to add an inch to for your seams because it's going to be a 1/2 inch seam allowance on either side. And then double the height of what you want plus 3 inches because that's going to be the height of our casing. So I'm going to start by folding this in half, and that's going to allow me to, I'm just going to give myself a nice little fold here. This is going to allow me to make my marks so that I can make my casing. And that's what the drawstring is going to go through. So you need to make a 1/2 inch cut here and here into the width of the fabric at 1.5 inches. So that's where I am right now, and we want a 1/2 inch cut, so it's not big. And I'm going to mark it with my pen and then snip it. And the first sample I did with my rotary cutter, and it made it a little meh, rough. So same thing here. So 1/2 inch, and oh no, I got to do it this way. 1/2 inch, and there. And honestly, this is one of those times where you don't need to be super precise. So I'm just going to snip it with my scissors. These are snips, not great for cutting fabric. There we go. And I'm going to rotate it and do the other side. And now what we're going to do, because now you've cut that 4 times because it was folded, we're going to fold this in the width of the cut. So here, like that. And I'm going to iron it into place with my cute little iron that I love so very much. This didn't cut as much as I wanted it to. I might have to get actual fabric scissors out for this. Come on. Something heave-ho, let's go. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So you do that on all 4 sides. 2 people are watching. Yay! Let me know if you're Christmas crafting, what you're doing with yourselves these days. And you could absolutely, in terms of marking, use the same tool to do both of these marking steps. But I'm using 2 different ones because that's what I like. Yeah. Okay. So now that we've done that, we're going to rotate this. I'm going to turn it this way so hopefully you folks can see easily. And we're going to turn this edge up a 1/4 inch. And again, it doesn't have to be super precise. I'm going to use my seam gauge for that. And we're going to iron it into place. And then we're going to turn this up again so that the folded edge meets where our cut edge is. So it ends up like that. And this is what's going to become your casing. And you can absolutely, if you're not feeling super confident about this staying down, you can absolutely pin this into place. I'm not going to bother. I had someone tell me the other day, I told a bunch of students not to skip steps. And they're like, yeah, except when you tell us you can skip steps. So, yeah, if you're feeling okay about it, go ahead, skip pinning. If you're not, don't skip pinning. Put a pin in it. That's I'm going to put a little steam here. I thought I had steam. Maybe I don't have steam. Maybe I used all my steam. I don't know. Full steam ahead. I'm so funny. Hilarious. I'm just hilarious. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sew 1/8 of an inch from the edge and sew this down. So we're going to see if this works now. I'm going to bring you over to my sewing machine. This is not going to work. I don't think this is going to work. Haha, that's what I want you to see. This is not going to work. This is so bad. Okay, maybe we'll make this work. I wish you could see me in the background. I'm like trapped between my ironing board and my pegboard wall of thread, and okay. I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm trapped between like my ironing board over here and my pegboard wall of thread and my desk and my cutting entrapments and whatnot. I'm going to turn this back over here. Oh no. Well, that doesn't help at all. There we go. Now you can see this part. Perfect. So I'm going to, and this is good because I don't think I need to be back over on the other side of this now. I need a GoPro. I need one of those things that goes on my head and allows me to film from my vantage point. And I think that would help the best. So, and I've got blue thread in here, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. All right, so just sew this down. Oh No, I did not catch that. Where are my scissors? There are my scissors. Yeah, I totally did not catch that part, which is okay because this is just a sample. I'm not going to worry about it. If this was real, I would totally go back and do it again, but for the sake of quickness, I'm not going to bother. Do this. And I think the twill tape I have may be a little too thick for this casing, but it'll work. I'll jam it in. You basically need to make your casing about the width of your twill tape, whatever you have. And I think I have 5/8 inches, and I think this is like 1/2 inch. So, and then I've added a seam allowance. Okay, so the next part of this, when we're sewing French seams, we want to start, normally with sewing, you would sew right sides together, which is the picture side, the printed side. But with French seams, we're going to sew twice, and we're going to start by sewing wrong sides together. So I'm going to sew along this edge and then the other side as well with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And if you are doing this, if you want to learn this method for, you know, sewing a shirt or a garment, most garments have 5/8 inch seam allowances. And what you do is you, there's a couple of different methods, but you start by sewing at 3/8 of an inch. You trim your seam allowance down, and then you sew a 1/4 inch because that's in totality your 5/8 inch, because a 1/4 inch is 2/8. And there is your math lesson for the night, because sewing is math. Sewing is so much math. So what you're supposed to do now is, now we're going to take this piece, turn it right sides around, take your pokey tool, which is here, poke out your corners so that they're nice and crisp. You can give this a little iron at this point. And then we're going to, you should trim your seam allowance down to 1/8 of an inch. I can't easily do that on video right now, so I'm going to skip it and just sew with a little bit of a bigger seam allowance. I am going to reach over here and off camera give this a nice little iron so that the seam allowance lies flat. And I forgot one other tool that you will need. You will need some sort of bodkin, or I love using my loop turner. I know it's not the right thing to do it with, but to put the drawstring in. Yes, so now we're going to sew. So I'm just going to sew with a very slightly larger seam allowance here, right from the base of that casing all the way down. And this is going to enclose that first seam. And you see, ta-da, nice finished inside. You got a beautiful bottom there. Super simple. And do the same thing on this side. From the base of that casing, because if you sew into the casing, you're not going to be able to thread your drawstring through. And you could make these bags in all different kinds of sizes. This one was about 20 inches by 8 inches. But you could really just do whatever suited your fancy, whatever you needed. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. Okay. I'm going to attempt this one more time. The shuffle. Bring you back up there. We'll bring this up here. We'll bring this around like this. Katie will come back on camera. There's my chair. Hello. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry for the chaos. Loop turner. I love this thing. They come in a pack of like a thick one and a thin one, and I use them for everything. And you really shouldn't use, like, I thread elastic with them. This one's kind of, you can see it's like super bent because I really use it for everything. But yeah, my favorite tool, one of my favorite tools. So turn your little bag around. You can see, so you see you've got a nice enclosed seam. Use your pokey thing. I think it's called a point turner, but I call it a pokey thing. The bamboo pokey thing. And if you come into the store and you're like Katie said, I want a bamboo pokey thing, this is what you're looking for. I will tell everyone. I'll be like, I told them it was called a bamboo pokey thing. So you can give your bag one more little press so that it lies nice and flat. And then you need more drawstring than you think you need. I've got a piece here that's like 1.5 meters. So I'm going to cut this in half because you have to thread it all the way around, and then you thread the second piece around in the opposite direction. So starting on this side, and yeah, this drawstring is too thick for this, but that's okay. Jam it in. So it'll come out one side. So I've got it through one side. And then we have to go around the other side. It's the same technique we used on the Firefly, if you sewed the Firefly with me. Let me know, folks who are watching this now or on the rewatch, what do you want to do next year? And then you tie these, because we're starting to plan our sew-alongs and our knit-alongs for next year, and I would love your feedback. And then from the opposite end here now, that's where we're going to start threading the other one. So, and this is a little tight. I would use different twill tape, but I did not have different twill tape. I had 5/8 inch twill tape, so that's what we got. So again, and this is stuck, because of course it's stuck. A safety pin works just as well if you don't have a tool handy, but if you are like me and have many tools, there we go. And then loop it around again. Safety pin, bodkin, hemostat, not a thermostat. A thermostat's the thing that you use to heat your house. I think it's called a hemostat. The grabby things, I think, could potentially work. And there, ta-da! You have yourself a little drawstring bag. And of course, oh my goodness, there we go. Didn't want to cinch up. There we go. All done. And you know, that's why, because I didn't catch this. It's not cinching nicely. So I probably will end up going back and sewing it properly. But I will do that off camera, not with you lovely folks. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming last minute. And look for this on the rewatch at some point. And yes, let me know in the comment section if you leave a comment on the video, or send us an email, and any other social media, reach out to us. Let us know what you'd like to see next year. Have a great evening. Happy holidays, everybody, and take care.